I was asking Landon Aidlet, the chief forecaster over there at the National Weather Service, our friends in Tiedzen, if he ever took ballet, with Bob's program. He said he did not, because of course he went to NC State, but he has made quite the name for himself in music, and he is actually joining us right now by way of the KUM News Zoom room to make good music and talk about what is going on with the weather, because it was really, really hot this weekend. And, hot, Guam's hot anyway. It might be Guam is hot, like a certain senator once sang. But Landon, half a day and not so much wind or breeze to speak of this past weekend. So was that expected?
It was expected, and it was a great day to be working on your roof. And did I get my roof painted? Absolutely not, because there are just a few showers in the places I didn't want them to happen. But I did more power washing and I got some sun, so that was good. But yeah, we were looking at that little bit of a lull in the weather conditions and the winds that we had last week, and it was beautifully dry. We've had just over a quarter an inch of rain over the last 12 days. So that's in stark contrast to the first 12 days of the month of January. So we've been nickel and diming it literally every day since the start of the halfway point of the month with rainfall. And it's going to be dry at least for the next 1 to 2 weeks. So nothing much to speak of. And yes, I never took ballet. Music was my thing, but I almost took ballroom dancing back when I went back to school for another degree. I ended up dropping
Ah,
out after the first semester to come back over to the Pacific to take on a meteorology career. So
well, tell
that's
you
my
what, like since you dropped out of your ballroom dancing class at a North Carolina State University, go Wolfpack, by the way. I will let you lead as you tell us what we can expect for the forecast for this week.
I will take the lead, and let me turn my camera around right quick. So again, always go to weather.gov/GUM for the latest, most up-to-date weather information, and that's found on our webpage. And some of the tools to the trade, of course, click on forecast right here in the middle and go down to public marine aviation to find all the appropriate forecasts for your interests. But this is our watch, warning, and hazard box. And right now, we only have a rip current statement in effect for a high risk of rip currents. That is ongoing along east facing reefs. That's everywhere down from Retivian all the way down the east side, Paget Cave, Marble Cave, all the way down to Pago Bay, Inaraha, and Jeff's Parrots Cove, First Beach. So the rip current risk is high because we still have that large and ongoing trade wind swell that's battering our eastern shores as it does this time of the year. So watch out if you're on the east side. When in doubt, don't go out. This is the back door to finding all the latest products. So find this text product selector just below the watch warning advisory box. Click on that and you see all the products that have been issued in numerical order by time. So this is a back door to find all the products. If you don't know what you're looking for, and that's for all of Guam, Sinai, and Micronesia, followed by radar and satellite information. But we're going to change pace here. We're going to go right over to the satellite imagery. And of course, you see a lot of showers and thunderstorms on the satellite. This is Kapinga Marangi. This is not for Guam, but this is a great news for the folks in far southern Pohnpei State, where they've been in persistent severe drought for quite a while now, upwards of a half year, I believe. So this is much needed rainfall down there. More showers farther to the north across Chuuk and Pohnpei states. But for our area, very dry. We had a weak surface trough push through that is now leaving our area to the west, moving away from us with more dry air ahead of us. And so nothing to speak of there, but we did have about a quarter an inch of rain overnight with about 1500s before midnight and another dime after midnight this morning. That's all clearing out, and the radar is beautifully clear at the moment. Just some spotty showers, very few showers out there. If you're lucky enough to get one of these showers, it's going to hit you for about a minute, get things wet, and then move right off. But we're seeing all the stuff really dry out at the moment. But elsewhere on the satellite, nothing to speak of. We do have another shear line sitting up just north of us, and it looks pretty foreboding right now. But this is not expected to drop all the way down to Guam and the CMI. It's going to stay to our north, but those strong winds packing up there, it will maintain a north swell over the coming days. So we still have a north-northwest swell coming down into the Agana Boat Basin area, the East Agana Bay and Tumon Bay. So watch out up in those areas as well. Even though we have no advisories in effect for surf, those waves are still elevated across there. But the winds will be picking up around Tuesday night, Wednesday. We have a tighter gradient coming through across the region. So when you have the tighter pressure gradients, the winds increase across the region. We're going to be seeing that Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, with winds becoming breezy, with probably season surfing building to near advisory levels for small craft across the coastal waters of Guam and the CNMI around midweek, and persisting toward the end of the week, with probably maintaining a high risk of rip currents, especially along east-facing reefs everywhere from Telefofo northward to Anderson Air Force Base. So watch out there later in the week. 10-day forecast models indicate less than an inch of rain. So really over the next 2 weeks, going to be maintaining that dry season pattern, dry and breezy. So nothing too exciting, but that will only increase our wildfire threat in the coming weeks and months as we go into the peak dry season, which driest month again is the month of March. So watch out for that as those conditions evolve in the next couple months.
Man, you know, it is never a boring day for you and your colleagues over at the NWS, because you can say, okay, well, it was really, really rainy and we set a all-time record for rainiest January just 2 weeks in, and then we've had none of that. But now, of course, now we got to watch out and make sure that, we don't get grass fires or things don't spark up and everything. But let me ask you, in the history of Guam, because you're not only a student of history, you're a practitioner of science, obviously, but is one of the interesting things and one of the constant challenges and what makes it always fun and refreshing about tracking weather on Guam is that, we really can't go too many days without the weather changing dramatically. It's not like we have 100 straight days of heat, no wind. It's always changing.
Yeah, it's always changing. So you have these little minor variations. When I lived in Kwajalein, if you had a degree difference of 2 degrees from one day to the next, you felt it because it was that stable. And I think we kept record of thunderstorm days in Kwajalein. That means every day that you heard thunder or saw lightning. And so we averaged about 11 thunderstorm days a year. And I'm not sure what we have here, but it's significantly more than that here on Guam because of a number of factors. But it's always changing here, and you have to look at things on the 3 to 5 to 7 day range, but also the multi-week range and then the multi-month range, because things do change. We do have seasons, the wet and the dry season, but also the drought. And so if you have a couple weeks of persistent dry conditions, those grass fires, they do become more of an issue, especially when you have 2 or 3 months prolonged dry conditions. And so that's our dry season, and we are coming up on that. And just for the record, our record rainfall for yesterday was set back in 2014. We had nearly 5 inches of rain here at the office, and that was a record for the day for January 29th. And so I cannot remember what weather event that was back in 2014, but it was either a tropical cyclone of some sort or one of those shear line situations where the rain just batters in on one isolated area. And so that can happen with these shear lines. They can drop significant amounts of rainfall, and that's what we saw earlier this month.
All right. Well, if it's going to be hot and mildly, like hardly any wind and everything like that, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, not only Landon, but everybody watching us right now. Perfect opportunity to petition your boss to let you wear shorts when you come into the office. If you're in the work from home crowd and everything like that, you're doing that already, so no worries. But Landon, man, we always appreciate the knowledge because you have given us a lot of that. So have a wonderful week.
Thank you. I won't tell you what pants I'm wearing right now. So
I would assume that would be a good thing, but maybe that's another interview for another time. But tell you what, we will wrap up the show when we come back right after this. So stay tuned, everybody. This is The Hotspot.